Hello, it's Patrick. You're watching Tesla Trip and welcome to some more Tesla news. Elon just tweeted out today that Supercharger version 3 will be rolling out next year, and it's also going to charge cars a lot faster. He also said they're going to be doubling the Supercharger network again next year, and that he's looking at like 95 to 100% coverage on like all current territories that Tesla is serving in populated areas. So it's pretty big news. I wonder how fast Supercharger 3 is really going to be. I mean, originally Elon was saying that 350 kilowatt was nothing. It was like child's play or whatever. But now they backed off in some of the earnings calls, saying that there's trade-offs when you're going super fast, and the chemistry that you use and the weight and energy density and things like that. And they think they got a pretty good mix. And it sounds like any cars made in the past couple of years will be able to take advantage of the new Supercharger 3. I'm hoping that it'll be, a faster or a longer period of time that you're allowed to charge at the full capacity. Because right now you top out theoretically at 120. I've only seen it maybe go like 115, and it only stays at that sweet spot, for around like 10 or 15 minutes of your charge. It has to be when your battery's like over 100 miles of range and under 150 miles of range is really when you kind of hit that really fast charging rate that I've seen. And hopefully that widens, so maybe it's from like 50 miles to 250 miles of range that you're hitting that maybe 150, 200 kilowatt, which would be really fast. I mean, then you're really talking like a realistic 15-minute charge time of some meaningful recharge. And that would get people in and out of superchargers faster, which would be increasing capacity of the superchargers. So it'll be interesting if there's changing out the modules, or if they're making it so that one supercharger in a row of 4 could go at this super duper speed if nobody's on it. And then, so that instead of being pairs, there could be like multiple pairs to get more capacity to one. Or I don't know how they're going to do it, or if they're going to go and actually upgrade the electrical at all the existing superchargers, which would be crazy expensive. Let me know what you guys are thinking for Supercharger 3. I don't know how they're going to do it or what areas they're going to do it. It'll be very interesting to see. Model 3 production, they're said to have gotten to 7,000 units per week, either next week or so. And they're gearing up to ship out a lot of Model 3s. Elon said that they acquired a trucking company and that they're going to be able to deliver Model 3s by the year end as long as you get an order in by November 30th. So they're saying like less than a month to get a Model 3 to somebody. So that's pretty big news. If you want to save on the tax credit, then you can get that full $7,500 this year, or written off on next year's taxes. And yeah, that Lemur, the mid-range Model 3, $45,000, you get the $7,500, and if you live in like Colorado or California, you get some additional monies off of that, and it's under that $35,000. It's pretty tempting, and it's a really good car, that Model 3, and the amount of range that you get with it. So Teslas have reached 10 billion miles driven with a global fleet of 500,000 cars, which is just crazy. So when you look at that little chart that says your Tesla saves this much CO2, it depends on the energy source of what you're charging your car with. But yeah, that's a lot of electric miles, and it's interesting on how many of those are Autopilot miles and how much data Tesla has learned. And you can see a lot of that coming into play with the version 9 of the firmware, because it just seems so much better than the previous versions of Autopilot. And they said they have neural nets trained already, they just need more hardware. So next year when the new Autopilot hardware comes out and they put those neural nets on there, I mean, that's when you're going to see real self-driving cars. In fact, Elon was asked, you just bought these trucking companies, why aren't the cars just driving themselves to people for delivery? And Elon said it'll be technically possible next year, although then it'll be up to the regulatory. Take that with a grain of salt. Elon's timelines are notoriously famous for not being accurate, but I could see it. Yeah, the way that the current Autopilot is working, it's not outside the realm of possibility. Elon had also mentioned that the bioweapon defense mode was helping people in the fires over in California with the air quality, and that it was only the Model S and X. At the Model 3 had a pretty good filter, but it wasn't bioweapon defense mode capable. It's interesting, there's a YouTuber, Sensor Hack. He posted on there that if you put the air on recycle on the Model 3 and you kick it up to 5 on the vent, it actually does a really good job. He shows like this reading of 135 UG/M3, I don't know air quality, quite a bit down to just 75, and then after like 10 minutes or so it drops all the way down to 5, and it's pretty good. So the air quality inside a Model 3 significantly better by just recycling the air through that same filter than being outside, and pretty close actually to what the bioweapon defense mode. They'll get all the way like down to 0 at the bioweapon defense mode, or a 1. It'd be interesting to see somebody try this out on some other cars and see how well their air filters handle the air quality. If you're thinking about getting a Model 3, I already mentioned, like, get the tax credit. You can also use a referral code like mine and the one below, and you'll get free supercharging for 6 months on any Tesla, even the medium range Model 3. And I found this really cool thing I put in the show notes. It's a Tesla loan comparison spreadsheet. And these guys are updating by the hour the interest rates at different credit unions and what your calculations will be on your payment. There's stuff talking like less than 1% of interest rate at some of these, so you can kind of search your area and see if there's a credit union where you live that can give you these ridiculous rates on Teslas. They have these special programs where buying an energy efficient car they'll give you a really good loan. Anyways, I just thought I'd throw that out there. It's pretty cool. Speaking of things that are not so cool, the Model 3 in the cold. People are reporting some issues that aren't present in other Teslas. Mainly the doors kind of freezing and the windows. Now, I experienced this myself with the Model X. If you leave it outside and it snows and like this time of year it melts and then it freezes, it will freeze your windows shut so they can't roll down. So when you open the door, it goes past the trim, and then when you go to close the door, because it can't roll down, it will hit the trim and it'll leave a crack of like an inch or half an inch or so. And the Teslas are designed to kind of handle that. It doesn't really break anything, but it is very cold and noisy. And you definitely wouldn't want to be on the highway that way. Highly recommend keeping your car in a garage if all possible, which I know isn't possible for everybody depending on your living situation. The other thing is preheating your car. If you know that you have a regular schedule, you can do preconditioning. It's a setting in the Teslas, and it'll automatically every day warm up the vehicle according to your schedule. It works for me pretty good. Like, I get up at 7 o'clock and leave for work every day, and it's usually pretty warm because I leave the preconditioning on. Otherwise, you can manually do it with your app. You can log in when you first start eating breakfast or whatever, so it'll give it a good 10-15 minutes to warm up the car. And for most people, this works pretty good. There was a suggestion online that there could be a set on the Model 3 where it would point at the windows and the doors. It could aim the vents and warm them up, which is a really good idea because of the way the louvers work on that. You can do that with a Model 3. So I'm sure Tesla will figure it out with an update. People also mentioned something you might be able to spray in there to keep the doors from freezing up so much. I don't know. Let me know what you guys think. Is this really a major problem, or is this just kind of like this one particular time of year where these issues are going to be happening? Because last year there was a few Model 3s out, and they were really kind of shipping more heavily in like the February time frame, and people hadn't really reported these issues. Like I said, I think it's just the fact that it snows, it melts, it freezes, and it's getting into things and then freezing. I don't know if I wouldn't personally worry about it too much, but it is something to be aware of and what you're getting into if you don't have a Model 3 yet. Over in China and in Europe, they're now showcasing the Model 3 and doing pre-orders for probably a March time frame. So everybody else in the world, well, not everybody else, but a lot more places are going to have Model 3s available to them. There's an article on Inside EVs that was stating that people were willing to pay more for their Model 3 due to what they call the Tesla stretch. So people see these, the Teslas, and they're impressive cars, and they're willing to pay a little bit more for them. People that are normally buying like a Prius or like a Camry or something like that, and you're willing to fork out an extra 10 grand or 15 grand for a Model 3 just because of, it's a cool car. And not to mention, the savings on gas and maintenance and a lot of other advantages to having an electric car. What do you guys think? Do you think, is it worth a, like 20%, 30% premium to go with a Tesla over an old gas car? Not an old, but a new gas car. Boy, so it's interesting that Elon bought this fleet of trucks to deliver Model 3s, because he was saying they want to deliver them via the electric Tesla semis, but apparently they haven't got them out in time. But that's not stopping other people from pre-ordering. Albertsons put in a pre-order for 10 Tesla semis. So a lot of companies, Walmart, Budweiser, I can't remember, there was just a huge laundry list of companies pre-ordering the Tesla semis. It'll be interesting to see what this next big Tesla event is. I'll be going. Thank you so much for using my referral codes. It's probably going to be the Model Y unveiling in March or April, and maybe they'll show off the Tesla pickup, or maybe they'll show off the prototype or an updated version of the Tesla Semi, because they've been talking about updating it to whatever the final is, that it's not a prototype but a final production vehicle. So maybe they'll pull up with a Semi and roll out a Model Y and a Tesla truck. Thank you guys so much for watching this extra long episode. Hopefully my stuttering and stuff didn't drive you guys away. Please subscribe, click the notification bell, click like, share, let people know that I'm out here making these videos. I'm very close to 10,000 subscribers on this channel, and it would be awesome if I could make that. It kind of ups the status inside of YouTube, and I hope to go to CES again this year and see all the other electric vehicles. And I'm kind of thinking about changing the name of the channel instead of Tesla Trip to something else. I'm going to leave that up to you guys. What do you think I should name the channel? I love Tesla, and I'll still do Tesla news like I'm always doing, but I also want to be able to cover other electric vehicles. I have a Chevy Volt, and I'm interested in all the different manufacturers that are coming in with electric pickups, and I'd like to kind of open it up just a little bit so I can do things on that. Plus, I found out there's like another channel called Tesla Trip. There's somebody else on Twitter with Tesla Trip. There's a band called Tesla Trip. So yeah, I want other ideas on what I should call the channel. I don't know, like Electric Patrick or something. We'll see you guys next time. Thank you so much. Bye.